Hey everyone, it's Sarah. I'm going to go ahead and do another garden tour. I think it's been about a week since my last garden tour, if not just over a week. And so I'd like to show you some of the things that I've done over the past week. Let's get started. So one of the first things that I noticed actually this morning whenever I came home from the gym was that I have my third asparagus that has popped up. So I know that I now have 3 viable crowns that have been planted. So this is 1, that's 2, and that one right there is 3. I'm really excited about it, and I actually can't wait until next year, whenever I'm thinking they're going to be bigger and produce more. Obviously, I didn't really think that these would actually take because I planted them so late in the season. So I actually found some wild garlic whenever Matt and I went walking with Freya, and I just had this urge and need to maybe try to transplant it before it was dried, and obviously that didn't work. It's dead. Like all this is dead. So I think I might actually go harvest some more, and I might actually make a different video for that where I'm going to pull all of the wild garlic up and then let it dry. That way in October I can plant the cloves and get some wild garlic going in my garden and see how that goes. That'll be another experiment. Aside from the garlic, which I will pull out because it's not going to do anything, the onions are doing really well, very, very well, and the potatoes are still doing well. It looks like some of them are starting to die back. So I think, from what I understand, once they die back over 50%, if not more than that, that's whenever you harvest the potatoes. And I know that there are early varieties and storage varieties. I'll be honest, I don't know the exact varieties that I have planted in my garden. So I'm just gonna wing it. I'm gonna try to do a long term storage on them regardless of what kind they are. But I think if I allow them to cure properly, that it's not really going to matter that much in regards to storage length. So let's go ahead and go inside the garden and I'll show you some updates in there. By the way, before we go inside the garden, I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram post, but we weeded the inside of the garden and pruned back the zucchini plants, which I'll be talking about a little bit as well. And I have 3 huge piles of leaves and weeds. They don't look like 3 huge piles anymore because it's been hot and they've dried up and shriveled up, but it was a lot of work to weed, and Matt was kind enough to prune the zucchini plants back a little bit because they were overtaking the garden, and I don't think there was enough airflow and getting into the plants. But let's get into it and take a look at the garden. So one of the first things, the cucamelons, or the Mexican sour gherkins, are doing so great. I will be harvesting some of these here soon. They're probably big enough to harvest, but they are flourishing. It's like everywhere I turn, there's another one. There's another one. So, and that's happening on both sides. Now I will say that some of my cucumber plants are dying back some, and I don't know if it's because of all this intense heat, but they're still flowering. I don't know if it's something like, I don't know if anybody's familiar with what this is. I'll have to ask some fellow gardeners. I'm having some issues with this side particularly drying out and getting this way. Now I have been watering it frequently, especially with all this heat that we've been getting, this 90-degree weather. And you can see that the cucumbers are still forming. I actually need to pick some of them, but I mean, everything's still growing and all the cucumbers are still doing pretty well. It's just these plants right here kind of just look a little dingy. Yeah, you can see they're growing, still blooming, still flowering, still growing. But I am so amazed at my dragon gourd plant. So you can see they're starting to come through, and I actually started, this plant started to go almost all the way over, and I'm starting to weave it back some. And the same thing with the crown of thorns gourd, which you can see there's one growing right there. Let me see. I saw another one as well. Down maybe? Yeah. That one's doing really well. That one is probably the size, oh, I don't know if you can see that. That one's like, can you see where my hand is? That one is the size of like a baseball. So they're doing pretty well. And then here are the zucchini plants, which, believe it or not, we did trim those back some. You can see here is where some of the zucchini are now. The issue that I've been having with my zucchini plants is that they have been producing so many little zucchini, but like this, for instance, they're not getting pollinated, so they're dying off. So what I'm gonna have to do is, when the blooms open up on these, I'm going to have to make sure, let me take this off, I'm gonna have to make sure that I pollinate myself. So whenever this flower opens, taking some of the pollen from here, and then when this flower opens, pollinating this flower. That way this zucchini has a chance to grow. Whenever the fruit is not pollinated, then it dies off like this. Like this won't grow. You can see that the end where the bloom was is kind of rotten, and that's because it wasn't pollinated. Now, one of the problems that I have been facing is that these peppers are just giving me a pain. Some of them have grown and they did start to perk up some, but I don't know how well they're actually going to do. And then I'm pretty sure when we were pruning the zucchini plants, this one got chopped. So these haven't started blooming, and to be honest, I think it's because of the zucchini plants overtaking it. So I might not actually get any green peppers this year, but that's fine, because it was my fault, and I honestly didn't think that the zucchini plants would do this well. And then my strawberry crown gourd, a strawberry crown winter squash. That was the only one. Oh wait, no, here's another one. That's the second one that I've seen, and it looks like there's a little one growing there as well. So this one's doing pretty decent. It's not doing nearly as well as the crown of thorns gourd and the dragon gourd, but nonetheless, I'm very excited about it. Now, you can see from this side, the cucumber plants are doing fairly well. On this side, you know, they're growing up, and here's one that I actually probably need to pick here soon. And a lot of cucamelons that I need to pick here soon as well. It is so bright out and hot. So I'll be doing that today probably. Now, the banana peppers, they're doing really, really well. You can see all the, you can see all the little peppers that are growing across all the plants. So I'm very excited about these. You can see all the different plants and still blooming a lot of flowers. So that's very exciting as well. Now, as you can see with my tomato force, which I'm still waiting for a name, people. I still, like, I don't know if tomato forest is appropriate, but I need something to call this massive amount of green tree-like area, space, whatever. And as you can see, I did start to tie some of them because they were getting way too heavy to hold themselves up, so I'm kind of using some of the other stakes to assist. Now, this is just making me more and more want to have what I had previously talked about in my Let's Talk Tomatoes video. For next year's plans, I do want to put cattle panel and have that so that I don't have to worry about this. Like, that's a lot of movement for a tomato plant. I foresee that at some point these are going to fall over. My San Marzanos are doing really well. My Dr. Witchies are doing really well, but I have yet to have any. Oh my gosh! I was just about to say that I didn't have any that were about to blush, but I just found some. I have been keeping an eye on these, and I swear to you, yesterday when I looked at these before it rained, this tomato was pure green. It is starting to blush, which means it's starting to turn into the color that it's supposed to be, and these are the black cherry tomatoes, so this is going to get a dark brown. I am so excited about this. That means I'm going to get tomatoes soon, guys. I am so thrilled. But aside from that, the tomato plants are still blooming. They're still bearing fruit. I think, let me take a quick look. I think that might be the only one right now that's blushing. I have a lot of tomato plants. I don't see any others that are currently blushing, but that's okay. Still plenty of time. Lots of days that are going to have a lot of heat. So I think that's going to really help my plants. Now, if you look here, I do have some plants, or some of the leaves on my tomato plants that are yellowing. Now, what I typically do whenever this starts to happen is I do cut these back. So that's one of the things that I'm going to do in the garden here this afternoon. So I'm going to go through a lot of these plants and cut these back, because some of these could be from bacteria, just from like water splashing up. So I'm going to make sure that I trim these to kind of help sustain the plant a lot longer. It's inevitable for this to happen. You can see some of it right here as well. But I try to, oh, there's some really bad leaves right there. But I try to manage it as it, and with how hot it's been lately, and with the rain that we had yesterday, I didn't get the chance to come out and actually work on anything. It's still pretty hot out, but I have to get stuff done. So I'm just going to have to kind of suck it up and do it. But it's not going to affect the fruit in any way, just tedious and time consuming. But that's enough about my tomatoes. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the garden. So this is my lettuce, and as you can see, it's starting to bolt. It's starting to get that long shoot. I'll probably just let this keep going and maybe see if I can collect seed from it. If not, then I'll probably just pull it up and plant something else. My green onions are starting to sprout here that I planted not that long ago. You can see some of the lettuce that I planted here is starting to sprout up as well. So I'm hoping to get some that I can harvest towards fall. And then I think these were parsnips that I think these were parsnips that I planted. Now, this cabbage plant's not doing very well. This one is, kind of, but I honestly don't know how well it's going to do. This plant's starting to go to seed. I can't remember whether it's cilantro or parsley, but at that point I don't care. And my dill is still doing very, very well. I'm going to be harvesting some of this soon to use whenever I pickle my cucumbers, and I'll make sure that I post a video whenever I go to pickle my first batch. I'll probably have a couple batches, but I'll make a video for that whenever I go to do it. And that video might actually happen this weekend, because I think it is supposed to rain this weekend. So I think I'm going to be best suited to do something like that since it requires being indoors. So I might actually pick some of that today and put it in the fridge for the weekend. And then my cattle beans are doing pretty good. Again, these are the beans that you leave on until they dry out and then you pick them to use for like baked beans. I don't know how many I'm going to get, but it is what it is. I mean, I wanted to try to grow them. Didn't really grow them for the amount of baked bean or the amount of dried beans to use. And then I have some more summer squash, and this Pattison squash is the only one right now that is big. And sorry, another notification. I am super excited. I'll probably be picking this one soon. It's probably about the size of a baseball, but you want to pick them when they're tender. I was hoping there would be more than one, but there's been some struggles with these being pollinated. Oh, it looks like there's another one, that one right there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to my summer squash starting to ripen. I feel like it should have ripened already, and I should have had some, but it's obvious something just didn't work out. That's why we decided to prune some of it back, and I may have to self-pollinate because I've lost a lot of fruit because it was not getting pollinated. So I might just have to self-pollinate to make sure and ensure that I get zucchini this year. The kohlrabi is doing pretty good. It looks like I have one that's really starting to form right here, and one right here, but the other ones still look fairly little. And to be honest, I've never grown kohlrabi before, so I don't know how long it's going to take, and I can probably check to see on the packet. I think I might still have the seed packet. Take a look at that and see how that goes. The beets are doing it okay. The carrots are doing fine. The turnips, not turnips, parsnips. I think these are parsnips. I think they're doing well as well. And then the radishes that I sowed a couple weeks ago are starting to come through as well. And then my green onions are doing well. I'm really excited about my green onions. I just went through some green onions that a friend gave me, and I need more. And then you can see that my eggplant did have a bloom on it. I don't know how well these are going to do, to be honest. Like, they look pretty terrible. But my ground cherries are doing really, really well. I don't know if you can see all of them. Like, can you see all of those little pods right there? I'm going to be very excited and thrilled whenever, and I keep repeating that phrase, excited and thrilled, but I'm going to be very excited whenever they start to ripen and drop. Here's the one that's, whoop. Here's one that dropped. And I kind of just have to like come in here and look at the ground. Here's another one that dropped. And you can store these in the fridge like this. I did research that, and they should last a long time. So as I come out and as I pick stuff here and there, pick these up off the ground, and I will put them in the fridge until I harvest almost all of them, and then I'm going to make some jam. I really want to try that. And then my cayenne peppers are doing really well. They bloomed yesterday, so they're probably going to start to set fruit. Some of them have already started setting fruit, but like there were a lot of blooms on it the other day, so I'm sure there's going to be more fruit set on it. And then my jalapenos, it looks like they're starting to set fruit. I don't know if you can see this. Oops. It's starting to set fruit and it's getting some blooms. It's a really hot day. I'm going to go inside and cool off for a little bit. And then I'm probably going to work on pruning my tomatoes and harvesting some of my cucamelons and my cucumbers that are ready to be picked. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more gardening content from me, and be sure to leave a comment below if you have any questions or any suggestions for what you want to see. I do plan on posting another video here within the next few days. Not sure what it's going to be, but I do want to try to post at least 1 to 2 videos within a week period if I can, especially since there's a lot going on in the garden right now since stuff is starting to grow and everything like that. So have a nice day, guys. Happy gardening. I'm sorry for my shadow. Yeah. You little guard dog, babe. What are you doing? Hey, hey, hey. That is a, it's just tedious and time consuming. Sorry about that. There was a notification on my phone. But I'm pretty sure, let me taste it. Oh, okay. That pretty sure was short-lived. Oh, hey baby. She's like, come on. What are you doing? What are you doing? She's like, what are you doing? You ready to go inside, huh? It's hot.